Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. There's a new Ripple Insights blog released today, and it covers the latest Ripple Drop, which is a short video series. Typically, they're about 2-minute long videos, and the content around this one has to do with predictions for 2020, having to do with blockchain, XRP, just Ripple in general, from some of the top names that you'll many probably be very well versed with many of them anyway. And so I'll tell you this, it was fascinating for, a couple of reasons. First of all, normally these segments are only 2 minutes long, and there actually was one that was 2 minutes, which I'm going to pull up in just a second here. But they also had a longer format one it was like 14 or 15 minutes, and that's the one I watched first, and then a little bit later on, I did end up watching the 2-minute version as well. I'd encourage you, if you have time, to maybe check out the full version one. It's really fascinating, but they had a bunch of different individuals. They started with Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, then you got David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, who else? You have Ethan Beard, who was in charge of running Spring. There was Ashish Burla, Brianne Madigan, and Monica Long. I think that was all of them. And it was really interesting hearing their insights on to where all this is going in general. So I'm going to touch on that, and then I'll wrap up the video with an unrelated article that I just found fascinating. It's from Cointelegraph, titled Ethereum fears Vitalik Buterin selling 90,000 ETH as $25 million hits exchanges. And what's the reason I thought, how about this? And thought maybe I'll actually cover this is because usually when you see stories about fears of selling, maybe you get the occasional one about, is there a Bitcoin whale, this or that, but almost 100% of the ones I come across have to do with Ripple selling XRP. That's it, and they're just kind of hit pieces by and large. But this one had to do with Ethereum, so I thought I'd just kind of run through it again towards the end of the video. But before going any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. You might not regret it. And so I shout out to two people first. One to Isidro Gonzalez, and another shout out to XRP Crypto Wolf. Both of these individuals tagged me in this Ripple Drop video very shortly after it happened. So thanks to both of you. I really do appreciate it. And so let's go ahead and dig in now. This special holiday episode of the Ripple Drop reflects on the impact of blockchain technology and digital assets over the past decade. So 2019 surprises the Libra launch and RippleNet growth. So the entrance of Facebook's Libra white paper caught the world's attention in 2019. And by the way, I do like Brad Garlinghouse when he was speaking in this video. He was very clear, very careful to say that it was Facebook's Libra white paper, not Facebook Libra, but Facebook Libra white paper, which is precise. Precision of words. VP of Global Institutional Markets Brianne Madigan explained how the announcement generated a global push for defined regulatory frameworks around digital assets and blockchain technology. I'd say there were a few things that surprised me this year, said Madigan. One was the degree to which the Libra project had the ability to catalyze global governments across the world to come together and start to understand the urgency around developing regulatory frameworks. I would say that as well. And that's why many around the world, not just individuals in fintech, but even entities such as like Western Union, to them, it should be what Brad Garlinghouse defined as a call to action. Because if you think about it, what was the guy's name? Is it David Marcus with Libra? I'm going from memory here. I think that's correct. I apologize if it's the wrong name, but he talked about how with what Libra would be able to do, it kind of makes companies like Western Union obsolete, which I think he's getting a little bit ahead of himself, frankly. But even so, that would be what Brad Garlinghouse referred to as a call to action. Fair point, I think. Anyway, additionally, SVP of Customer Success, Marcus Treacher. I did forget he was in this. I should know. He was very insightful, by the way. But anyway, there's just a lot of names at once. But anyway, SVP of Customer Success, Marcus Treacher, explained that RippleNet's record growth was his biggest 2019 surprise. What surprised me was the pace in which we were able to grow a global network, RippleNet, by connecting banks and payment companies, said Treacher. We saw a tremendous uptick in volume, activity, and onboarding of global companies. And of course, most of those we're just using RippleNet, the payments portion of it, not on-demand liquidity for settlement. But I'm telling you, watch out over the coming years because additional corridors will continue to come online. Now, to that end, this sentiment was echoed by SVP of Marketing Monica Long. around the customer adoption of RippleNet's on-demand liquidity. So ODL leverages the digital asset XRP to make instant cross-border payments without the need to pre-fund an account in the destination country, as we all know, of course. And here's a quote. "I was very pleasantly surprised by the demand that we saw for on-demand liquidity from the existing RippleNet customer base," said Long. "For a long time, we had validated the value proposition for on-demand liquidity both for market research and talking to our customers, but 2019 was a breakout year for that product and customer adoption." Indeed, it's real-world adoption. Wait till you hear to see what Brad Garlinghouse had to say on that front as an aha moment. So industry aha moments, and that was what the host of the Ripple Drop, Reinhard Kate, asked everybody. So what was your aha moment? Which I think is a pretty cool question, actually. So throughout the past decade, blockchain technology and digital assets have had several moments that transformed the industry. CTO David Schwartz described the moment when he discovered Bitcoin as, quote, "everything just clicked." It's these unique moments of learning that shape future industry builders. Now, for CEO Brad Garlinghouse, it was the moment that he watched MoneyGram CEO Alex Holmes praise on-demand liquidity, which of course uses XRP, and explain how it has benefited the company's business. And here's a quote. "Having spent maybe a year talking to the leadership team at MoneyGram and seeing the transition from skepticism to significant advocacy over the course of the year was really profound." And that's a quote from Brad Garlinghouse. And then he continues, "There was some doubt initially, and then for them seeing on-demand liquidity solve a real problem and hearing them talk about the work we're doing with them on their earnings calls was certainly a big aha and very gratifying event in 2019. And so in terms of development of the client base for Ripple, that's probably fair to say they're the most notable client that we're aware of, especially as it pertains to a customer actually using XRP. So what about predictions for the future? For 2020 and beyond? Well, they jumped into this too, and this is cool. "As we stand on the doorstep of a new year and new decade, our executive team shared their predictions of what's in store for the industry." And here's a quote. "I think you're going to continue to see consolidation. You don't need 3,000 plus cryptocurrencies out there." And that's a quote from Garlinghouse. And then he continues, "I think the utility will bear out where you will see a migration to quality, if you will, technologies and cryptocurrencies that can scale with market demand with real use cases." Exactly. And so just the concept of getting away from a technology in search of a problem, that's essentially what they're talking about there. Now, David Schwartz expressed similar sentiment, but the key for continued growth is the ability of these technologies to find new use cases and solve real problems. And here's a quote. "I think we're going to see more growth of blockchain into different use cases," said Schwartz. "I think the focus is going to be, can you solve an actual problem, not do you have a solution that somebody might be able to use for something." And so that's just basically in line with what I was just saying, just the concept of technology searching for a problem, right? Still, sentiment was quite bullish around the long-term impact of digital assets, XRP, and blockchain on the greater financial industry. For SVP of Spring, Ethan Beard, the technology has the potential to replace the underpinnings of the entire financial industry, and he believes eventually every financial transaction will touch a digital asset. And SVP of Product Management, Ashish Burla, made a similar argument, noting that the long-term potential of the technology is immense. And here's a quote from him now. "I think folks are underestimating the long-term implications and impact that blockchain technology is going to have on everyday lives." And that's, again, quote direct from Ashish Burla. And then he continued, "By the end of the decade, I really do think almost every financial application will be reinvented using this technology. It's just going to take a little bit longer than we anticipated." And yeah, whatever the timeline is, it is. And that's why I keep going back to, since there's real utility here for me as an XRP holder, and I assume that many listening to me are, because it's, of course, an XRP-centric YouTube channel here. I don't offer financial advice, but I suspect that a lot of people are just like me and just think, hey, however long it takes, I'm going to hold it. Because if it's solving a real-world problem, don't you think the rest of the world is going to figure this out? It's not going to always be the case that a bunch of people are buying and selling XRP purely because of the volatility whims of Bitcoin. That's not always going to be the case. Anyway, the Internet of Value is something that Marcus Treacher believes can really be reached in the next decade. Treacher argued that the work Ripple is doing with RippleNet, the Interledger Protocol, and the XRP Ledger are setting the stage for a complete shift in the global financial system. And here's a quote from him now. The Internet of Value that we're creating is very much coming to life. And I can see blockchain technology merging into other core enabling technologies and together creating the fourth industrial revolution. So, it might sound to outsiders to be rather audacious, but if you understand that they're fundamentally changing the way that money moves around the world and they're finding success, it's not exactly nuts. It's bold. But fine. But just imagine when it costs almost nothing to move money across borders around the planet, how many more financial transactions will there be as a result, especially as you delve into microplanets? I'm telling you, it's going to change everything, and XRP will be a piece of this if things keep going down this path. And so I couldn't be more bullish, All right, last, I'm going to be brief with this one, but I just found it interesting. From Cointelegraph, Ethereum fears Vitalik Buterin selling 90,000 ETH as $25 million hits exchanges. So Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin became the center of attention on Christmas Day amid fears he plans to sell $25 million of the cryptocurrency. Records from monitoring resource Etherscan showed a total of 92,000 ETH, currently worth $11.5 million, moved from a single wallet to U.S. exchange Kraken on December 25th. As noted by blockchain analytics service Viewbase, the wallet contained over 300,000 ETH before the transaction and received most of its content from Buterin several years previously. The whale is likely an ETH developer or Vitalik Buterin himself, it's summarized in accompanying comments. The transaction formed one of three major movements to exchanges which triggered in quick succession, and Huobi gained an extra 99,987 ETH, while another 25,908 ETH went to Binance. The total value of these the three transactions is $25.5 million. So, not chump change. Responding to Viewbase, commentators immediately raised concerns that Buterin or an associated investor was planning a major sell-off. And so nothing insane has happened to this point, but it's just fascinating that they actually did have a story on the concept of dumping, and it wasn't Ripple or XRP, and I thought, oh, holy day, praise to Jesus, it actually happened. A dumping story, not about Ripple and XRP. So there you go. Who knows if it's actually him or not. I just found it conceptually fascinating there. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!